Remove that from the intake so we don't suck it up and blow up our turbo. That would be bad. Let's get that guy on. Woo-hoo, getting somewhere. Hi everybody, good day to you and welcome back. This is a 2018 GMC Sierra 3500 dually with a 6.6 Duramax. And it is here because of the service emission system warning message on the digital indicator. It also has a check engine light. The reason that the service emission system indicator is illuminated is because this engine has failed to do an exhaust filter regeneration procedure. It has made, I believe, 3 attempts so far and has not been able to complete the regen. That is because the vehicle has a misfire. I've already got the scan tool here connected. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the trouble codes. And we have a P0204 cylinder 4 injector control circuit, symptom 00, test failed, and a P0300 engine misfire detected. So let's pull up misfires and confirm that number 4 is the one that is actually misfiring here. Okay, misfire data. Cylinder 4 misfires are consistent. 90, 100, the counter just keeps going up. We have a dead hole on this. Due to the fact that, oh yeah, look at history, look at that right there. Cylinder number 4 history, 54,338 so far on the count. The reason that the regen is not completing is because of that misfire. So what we're gonna do, being a diesel, there is no ignition system. I'm gonna go ahead and pull some engine covers off and we're gonna dig into this a little bit and see what's going on with that fuel injector. Going from my experience at the General Motors dealership, I do believe it has a failed injector. What likes to occur on these is the connector and the actual injector will they'll arc as the connector and ECM tries to fire the injector, and it will melt the connector, or just the injector went open circuit on its electrical side and has failed electronically. So chances are it's going to need a new injector, which will also have to replace the fuel line. Once that is complete, I can initiate a manual DPF regeneration procedure and we'll get this thing back in decent working order. Oh, I'm definitely feeling the misfire now since I put it in gear. I'm going to back this out of this particular stall because there's a lift here and I'm not going to need a lift to do this job. So we're going to move this over to my flat stall and we're going to dig into her. So stay tuned because this is going to be a very good video. Actually, this may end up being a couple videos because this is quite a lengthy process and there's a lot involved here. So I may have to end up breaking this up into 2, potentially even 3 videos. I hope I don't make it to 3, but I like to under promise and over deliver. That way you always exceed expectations and nobody ever gets let down. There is also one other super common issue on these trucks that prevents the DPF from regenerating, and that is a clogged air intake temperature and pressure sensor located right here, right on top of the intake horn. So we're gonna pop this out real quick like and see if it's full of carbon and soot and whatnot, and the survey says yes. Look at that. Yeah, that sensor is loaded full of crust. Okay, we're gonna order one of those too. You can attempt to clean these out. I've had, I'll call it 50-50 success on cleaning them versus just replacing them. There's a little port way down inside of there, and if that carbon makes its way inside of there, it just plugs up the sensor and it renders it ineffective. And if this sensor is not running like it should be, then the DPF regen cannot complete because it gets an erroneous reading from the intake temp. And for the record, this is a RPO code L5P Duramax. If you recall from the trouble code list, it was saying that number 4 is the affected cylinder. The firing order on these Duramax is a little weird. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 4 is the second cylinder back on the driver's side. So what we're going to do here is we're going to pull off this boost pipe. We will remove fuel lines right there to gain some access. We'll pull off this little noise insulating cover, and that's going to give us access to the number 4 injector, which is located right about here somewhere. Okie dokes, first things first, let's get this tubing off of here. Whoa, slippery floor. 11 millimeter. Good. Begin coming off now. Boost pipe, come on. Pry bar. Mini angular pry bar. Nope. Larger angular hose pick pry bar. I must break loose the surface adhesion without poking a hole in the boot, because that would be bad. Come on. Here we go. It's wiggling. All right, I grow weary of you. I will penetrate it with penetrating lubricant. That should get in there and wick around and help me break this guy loose. I don't think this has ever been off of here. Cut. Got it. Yeah, it's that big old lip right there that'll get you. Okay, next up, we got to get these fuel lines disconnected. There's a bunch of dirt on there. Spray that off. Okay, this requires a fuel line disconnect tool. We push the line in. Push the tool in, wiggle it, pull the line out. Here it comes. Actually, this is going to require 2 fuel line tools. We need the big one and the little one. Procedure's the same. Okay, we'll just tuck these guys down here under the brake booster. That'll keep them out of the way. And let us remove this cover. I don't recall if there's bolts on this or not. Yeah, there are. There's a 10 mil down there, 2 of them, I think. Way down yonder. I can't see them and I can't feel them. But I can poke around until I find it. There we go. Got one. Come on out. It looks like there's space here, but this is a very tight squeeze, like a tiger. This isn't even the fun part, putting this guy back. That's the fun part. All right, here is the injecting units. Here are the injecting units, grammar. Okay, we've got cylinder 2, 4, 6, and 8. This is our affected injector right here. Connector looks okay. Well, it's not off. I'm replacing that connector regardless of what it looks like. If I can get the thing disconnected here. Can't do it by hand, that's for sure. Unclick. That is a little kind of burnt looking in there. Yes, this will be replaced. Let's see. Okay, first things first, I'm gonna go ahead and plug this turbo inlet right here, and that way no debris can get inside of there, because I'm gonna take some compressed air and blow all this dirt off of this before I pull this injector out. That way I don't get any debris or dirt or whatever, or doo-doo-doo-doos down in the cylinder once that thing is removed. By the way, for the record, this is called a common rail diesel injection system, and as the name implies, it uses one fuel rail in common with that bank of injectors, hence the name common rail. It's got one on each side. They both receive fuel from the CP, I think these have a CP4 pump, CP3 or CP4. Anyway, they both receive fuel from the high pressure injection pump that's plumbed to the rails through a primary inlet line, and then that high pressure fuel is distributed to each injector via their own independent fuel line. This assembly right here, this is the fuel return line from the injectors. See, the fuel injectors, they're under a lot of pressure. Consequently, there's a lot of heat, and they're also protruding into the cylinders, adding to the heat. Because of that, they need to be cooled, and they use fuel flow to cool them. So whatever fuel does not pass through the injector is then, or into the chamber, is then passed through and rerouted to this return line, which then just returns back to the tank. Now, since we're coded for open circuit, before I go full bore on replacing this injector, I'm just going to verify that the circuit is in fact not open by simply probing it on resistance. And let's take a look at the meter up here. We do have some resistance going on. Looks like a 25.9 kilo ohms. That confirms my suspicions. And just to verify, I'll ohm one more injector circuit just to make sure that it all matches up. I'm gonna do that for two reasons. One, complacency is how you get yourself in trouble. So even though I think I know what's going on, I'm not gonna discount that 5% of unknown. And number two, if I don't do it, you guys will rip me a new one. So it's really an act of self-preservation. Plug you in right there. Get in there. Okay. And the number 6 circuit, again, 25.9 kilo ohms. So that's enough for me. I know there are more in-depth ways to verify this, but I don't believe it's necessary at this time. Okay, now that this has been proven out, I'm gonna go ahead and start pulling this return line off. And we'll dig this injector out. So we got a couple unclicks going on here. And shout out to the viewer who suggested unclick. You know who you are. Come here. Nobody's got time for that doing it by hand nonsense. Now the real trick here is to not lose all this stuff. Then I gotta call the dealer back and get more of it. That's always a pain. Ow. Then people get mad at me because gravity won. can just pull this guy up and set that out of the way. Oh no, I walked away and forgot that I was gonna blow this area clean. Oops. Here, let's just undo that real quick and I'll blow all this stuff off. Yeah, it's the attention span of a fish sometimes. There, that's better. Back on. Oh, plug on gravity. I disconnected it on the radiator support, and the air pressure roosh from the disconnection sent the gun across the support and off of the hood. That was great. All right, this guy just kind of sits down up here. Stay. And now we need to get the fuel line off. I believe those are 17 mil, and these fuel lines are not replaceable. There's like a crush nipple on the end of them that creates the seal. We don't want to chance it by trying to reuse that, because if it does not seal, a very, very high 26,000 psi pressure leak will occur, which is essentially atomized fuel, which could create an explosive environment, and that would be bad. So let's crack these bad boys loose. Oh, just the one. And I believe that these fuel lines are specific to their location, and they cannot be bent or altered, again due to being a high pressure type device. Now, where's that bolt for this injector? I know it's here somewhere. I think it's down, way down yonder. We'll disconnect some of this harness. Gain some space. Yeah, I think that's it right there. Let's confirm visually. Ah, I tore it. I hate it when I do that. But not all the way, I only tore it a little bit. That's good. Come on out of there, please. Ooh. Okay, so this long bolt runs into the cylinder head and it clamps down this device here, which slips over the injector, and that is what clamps the injector into its home. Now this should come out with some relative ease. Yeah, we'll give it some twists and a tug, and she comes right out. Beautiful. There she is. One DURAMAX L5P fuel injector right here. Okay, now that this injector is out, we're gonna verify that it is indeed faulty by checking resistance. We're gonna ohm out a known good injector. Come here, get on there, please. Give me resistance. Almost. Come on. Make connection, you. There we go. 0.2 ohms. And let's go over here to the number 4 injector. Both pins making contact, and we're at 0.8 ohms. Confirmation confirmed. Okie dokie, new fuel injector has arrived. Let's straight from GM land. Let's go ahead and bust this open and get the new one installed. I don't have a fuel line just yet, but I don't need a fuel line to put this together. No, that is not a fuel injector. I think there's a parts mismatch going on here. This looks like a transmission control module. Used one of them. Okay, try again. Okay, new one has arrived. We now have a new fuel injector. This is not a trans control module. It is in fact an injector. One cool thing to note, and I hope you guys can see it, the holes in the nozzle are so small on diesel injectors that you almost cannot pick them out by eye. I think you need a magnifying glass to see them, but there are 7 of them in the tip of that injector. Pretty cool, yeah? Okay, so I've got a new injector. I've got the new return line. I have a connector. I have that carboned up sensor. What I do not have is a I can't help myself. So what I do not have is the replacement fuel line. I had to send that back with the delivery driver, and he is going to match it up and then return with the correct fuel line. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and get this thing installed and do what I can until that new component shows up, the fuel line. While I'm waiting on that, I have an opportunity to go ahead and change this connector out. I can still maintain efficiency even though I'm lacking in some parts. We're gonna leave these caps on just to make sure everything stays clean until that new one shows up. All right, let's get this bad boy clamped down. Let's just go ahead and sneak that little fork mechanism in there. We're running out of lumens down under. Sorry if you guys can't see. Okay, it's threaded. Good. Secured. Unit secured. Let's go ahead and finish this off. Click. Okay, we don't need to have this disconnected anymore. Plug that guy back in. Audible click tells us that it's good. And let's move on to splicing in this new connecting unit. Okay, now GM says that I'm not supposed to solder these connections, so I'm going to follow directions and I will not solder them. I'm going to use heat shrinkable crimp connectors. Some will agree with this, some will not, but I am following manufacturer's recommendations, and that's just how it's going to be. Come here. I gotta cut back all this insulation cloth tape stuff right here. There, I shed a little bit more light on the subject. Now we can all see. I couldn't see either. You can't see, I can't see. What's new? This is the way. This is not regular electrical tape. It's kind of like a cloth, and it does not tear. So I've got to cut back all of this tape without nicking the wires, because if I nick the wires, they could become open or corroded or shorted, and that would be bad. Okay, I think I've got enough here to work with. Yeah, that's plenty. Now I'm only going to do these one at a time. That way I don't get them mixed up and backwards, because that also would be bad. All right, so I've got the new connector. I trimmed the wires down and GM has supplied me with some heat shrink type butt connectors, and that is what I'm going to use. So let's go ahead and crimp these guys on like so. There. Insulation is not broken. This is good. Next one. There we go. Give the tuggy tug test. This is good. And I'm gonna throw some, actually what I'm gonna do is pre-heat shrink this side, and then I'll stick some actual heat shrink over it. That way I can heat shrink the entire assembly once it's been heat shrunk after it's been connected. So I'm kind of doing it twice, but I like redundancy. Backups for my backups. Now I'm gonna do this with a lighter, because if I use a heat gun, I run the risk of heat shrinking this other section here, and I don't want to do that. So I'm just gonna hit this with a little bit of fire, just to kind of pre-shrink it. There we go. I'm sure I can finish it off when I hit it with the heat gun at the final stages, but yeah, I know the stool's kind of sideways. I'm doing a balancing act here. There, that's pretty. Okay, now it's time to cut this guy. Looks like we're doing this wire first. That's the one I cut. I'm gonna strip these a little long because this is a thinner wire than the replacement wire on the new connector. So what I'm gonna do is cut it long and then just double it back on itself to thicken up the area that's going to be crimped. That will ensure that there's a superior quality connection at play. So, all right, like so. That'll do. It's twice as much as I needed. Give her a twist, and I'm gonna bend it over like so. There we go. So, okay, let's pre-heat shrink this one. Let's get that in place. And yeah, that fit very nicely. Sorry if I'm blocking you guys. This is kind of a critical moment. I can't foobar this. There. Nice and tight. Okay, there's one. Where's my snippy snips? Oh, they're far away. Loud air noises. Good. Give that a twist. Where's my other heat shrink piece? How do I do it? There it is. Again, I'll double this over to increase the thickness where the crimp is supposed to occur. There. Give that a good tug. That's a good connection, says I. And again, I'm going to use some fire to heat shrink these connectors, and then I will heat gun the whole assembly once I put this sleeved heat shrink over both of the connectors. I don't always like to use fire, but in this particular application, a heat gun will it'll heat shrink this other stuff, and that's just not going to work out for me. Nothing's getting burnt or damaged. It is leaving behind a little bit of soot, but that's not a huge deal. Let's go ahead and slide that guy on. And same with this one. Okay, now I can heat gun this. That's so pretty. Okay. And as a finishing touch, I will tape up these wires with some factory style cloth wire loom tape. I want to make it run all the way down and meet up with the existing tape. That way there are no wires that are exposed and the repair will look factory. Or at least it'll look like it was performed by a GM factory trained technician. Whoa! My stool just slipped. It's okay, I arrested the fall with upper body strength. And a snippy snip. There. And that is that. Let's plug that back into its mount. And this guy. Click and click. Make sure the routing looks good and nothing's being pinched or is binding. That looks good. So we're on hold right here for now, but I do have that intake sensor and we can throw that in real quick. Like, begin unclicking now. There. Pry bar. Come off. There. There's the old one. Plugged up full of soot and carbon deposits. And my new one is right here. Part number 1268193. And according to the stamping, it is made in Japan. So is the old one. Yeah, you can see the port right there, that little half moon shaped guy. Just plug that guy right in here. We'll give her a twist so the O-ring seats. Good. Yeah, Pete, you gotta slow down. You're overlooking the little details because you're trying to go fast. Stop going fast. Finger click. Okay. You know, while we're here, something cool to check out. Look at that crystallized, kind of corrosive looking stuff right there. That is diesel exhaust fluid. When this stuff gets spilled and it dries, it forms this this crystal looking stuff, and it is actually highly corrosive. So I'm gonna hose this down. Looks like somebody spilled some while they were refilling it. Oops. All right, progress is being made quite quickly. I have a new fuel line here. So let's slap this guy in. And then we can start this thing up, program the injector quantity adjustments, and we're good to go. How does this get maneuvered? I think like, there we go. I think that's it. Yeah, I was trying to go through here. It goes under. Let's get that one started. We'll run them all the way down by hand and then apply some torquage. Loud noises. Sorry that my flanges are blocking the view here. Not much I can do about it. Click. A little bit more. Click. All right, let's get this injector return line disconnected and replaced. Let's see if I can get, I don't even know if you guys can see. Let's change our angle of our dangle here. Trying to get this guy disconnected. Got it. All right, new one. Become plugged in now. Oh, space is definitely a premium back here. I'm like leaning over the fender, kind of sideways. One foot on the ladder, one foot dangling in the air, with my rib cage supporting the weight. Awkward, slightly awkward. Okay, that's on. Actually, that's not on enough. I don't like that. Need to get that on more. Ooh, ladder slippage. A little bit more. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Of course, mustn't forget the clamp. Okay. Woo! taking care to make sure that the gaskets don't fall off of the bottom of these nuts right here, because if the gaskets fall off, it will leak and I'll have to do it again. And I do like my job, but I do not want to do it twice. Okay, let's run these down. Almost, I can't reach. Okay. Manual click.
Somebody you get the dick out and get in the end of the stick. One or the other.
Okay. One more. Okay, let's back up some and sneak our little heat shield thing back in. Bolt that down. Hook up the fuel lines. There won't be much priming necessary because this has an electronic lift pump, so I just need to key it on a couple times and it will prime itself. That's a cool little bonus feature. There. Okay, let's start to get these fuel lines set back up. Audible click. That's in. That's in. And we'll tighten down the bottom two bolts on this cover. All right, y'all, we're in the home stretch. Ah, flashlight gravity. In the home stretch. Let's get these little clips on. Remove that from the intake so we don't suck it up and blow up our turbo. That would be bad. Let's get that guy on. Woohoo! Getting somewhere. All right, it's all back together. Whew, moment of truth time. Go ahead and starting the engine. Now I do have to program in the injector quantity adjustments, or IQAs, for this specific fuel injector. I don't know if my my Snap-on scanner will do it. If not, I have to make an appointment with our programming company. We've got a little module. You guys, some of you guys have heard me on the phone with them before. Excellent customer service. Anyway, if I can't do it with this, I'll have to program it with the wrap module. What I'm doing now is initiating a couple key cycles. This will prime the system, remove all that air that we put in by adding new lines. It should be good. Let's go ahead and starting the engine. And she is alive. All right, so let's go back into it. And we want data. We want misfire data. We're going to go down to number 4 and verify that there are no misfires present. All right, cylinder 4, 0 misfires. Repair confirmed. Now, what I'm going to do is clear these trouble codes, and we're going to take this thing outside and do a manual DPF regeneration. Since we do need to initiate the regeneration procedure, I think I want to do that on the next, or on another video, because that procedure is almost worthy of its own video. So if you would like to see the regeneration procedure, it's going to be a short one, I can tell you that, but just go down into the video description right here and click on the link for the regen, and it will take you to that next segment of this particular repair series. Now, I will not be able to initiate the regen until this thing reaches operating temperature. So while this thing is running, I'm going to go ahead and back it up, and we're going to spray out all those leaves and stuff to clean up under the hood area. Doing so will prevent accidental fires from the heat generated from the regen procedure. Before I hop out, let's go ahead and reset the oil life monitor. Petey changed the oil in this yesterday. So that's reset, and he did the fuel filter. So that is reset. Everybody's reset. Oh, forgot you gotta shut them down and power them back on before the reset takes place. And yes, confirmed, fuel filter is reset. Def fluid level is okay. All right, good to go. Let's let this come up to temp. And then after I get rid of all those leaves, we'll move it over some out of the way and perform the manual / forced DPF regeneration procedure. And again, time for the assault blowgun.
All right, everybody, that's gonna wrap up part 1 of this repair. If you're ready to see the regeneration procedure, just click the link above, the one down in the video description, or you can wait all the way till the end of this video and check the end of screen pop up, and it will take you to the next video.
You know why I don't use a vacuum? Because a shop vac has no chance. These are Florida live oaks. Oh, you know what? There's one more thing that needs to be cleaned out. Oh, that's not too bad. That's the moisture drain for the hood. This has a functional hood scoop.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to have yourself a great day.